Welcome to our third in-season training module for flag football. This one's going to focus on basic penalty enforcement. So as we get into basic enforcement, let's remember some basic enforcement principles. The first one is that all fouls are either dead ball fouls or live ball fouls. Those are the only two options we have. They're dead or live. We have a specific type of foul that could occur during the down, but is always treated as a dead ball foul. And those are non-player and unsportsmanlike fouls. They can occur even while the ball is live or dead, but are always enforced as dead ball fouls. So either of those types of fouls could occur at any point, but we will always enforce them as dead ball fouls. Note that with the exception of a few special enforcements, live ball fouls by players which are not unsportsmanlike conduct are always enforced using the all but one principle. And as a principle, a team may accept the penalty but decline the yardage for any foul. This comes into play when zone lines to gain are generally threatened. Teams may, in specific circumstances, elect to take the penalty, which could be a replay of the down or automatic first down, without actually enforcing the yardage for fouls. It's important to note that this is never an option we give teams. They have to know the rules well enough to request it, but it does exist. So as we talk about penalty enforcement, we have to know that each penalty is enforced from a specific spot on the field, but specifically we're dealing with 5 spots that a penalty could be enforced from. One of those spots is the previous spot. That is the spot of the last snap. Another spot is the succeeding spot. That is the spot where the ball will next be snapped. So if you think about the game from a timeline perspective, if it's first and 20 to gain from the 14-yard line, like when we start the game, the 14-yard line is a succeeding spot until the time when the ball is snapped. Once the ball is snapped, the 14 becomes the previous spot until the next snap. So that's going to occur play after play. So if they gain 3 yards on that play, now the 17-yard line is a succeeding spot. The 14 remains the previous spot until the snap, and then the 17 becomes the previous spot, and the next spot of the snap is the succeeding spot until the snap, and so on and so forth. The spot of the foul is quite simply the spot where the foul occurred. The end of the run is an additional spot. This could mean a couple of things. One, it could be the dead ball spot during a running play with no change of team possession, or we could have the spot where the last offensive player with the ball lost possession if a backward pass or fumble is either intercepted by the opposing team or strikes the ground of the opponent's end zone. And the final spot for potential enforcement is the post-scrimmage kick spot, and that's the spot where a scrimmage kick, which is also called a punt, ends, or is the 14-yard line if the kick results in a touchback. We're not going to delve deeply into post-scrimmage kick plays in this module, but note that the PSK spot is a potential enforcement spot. So now let's talk about dead ball fouls. It's helpful to some to put these in an acronym format, and so we utilize the acronym FIELDS: a false start, illegal snap, encroachment, leaving the field on the wrong side, that is also known as a dead ball foul for illegal substitution, or delay of the game. Those are all fouls that would prevent the snap. If one of these things occurs prior to the snap, we will throw the flag high into the air, blow the whistle, and not permit the ball to become live. The S in this is unsportsmanlike conduct, and you'll note the note there at the bottom that they may occur during a live or dead ball, but is always enforced as a dead ball foul. So if an unsportsmanlike conduct foul occurs during the down, we will still throw our flag high in the air. We will not blow the whistle, but this penalty is a dead ball foul and is subject to dead ball enforcement. Additionally, there are a variety of fouls which are simultaneous with the snap. The common acronym used here is MISHAPS, and a MISHAPS foul is any of the following: illegal motion, illegal substitution, illegal shift, having the snapper off the line of scrimmage, an A player not within 15 yards of the ball, illegal participation, and if the snap is first touched within 2 yards of the line. Note that 3 of those fouls are announced as illegal formation, but they are examples of the illegal action. For MISHAPS fouls, or fouls which are simultaneous with the snap, we throw the flag high in the air at the snap, but we continue to officiate and let the play end before we enforce the penalty. So it's important that we keep officiating during that play. If I'm the line judge, which is the most common official to have one of these MISHAPS fouls, but it doesn't mean that somebody else wouldn't, I would throw the flag in the air and then continue to do everything I would normally do on a play. Our third big hopper for fouls here are what are known as live ball fouls, and they are very simply stated as a foul which occurs during a down. Examples of this would include pass interference, flag guarding, holding, things of that nature that are fouls that occurred during the down. When we see those occur, we try to throw the flag toward the spot of the foul. We don't want to hit players with it, and the spot of the foul could just simply be on the same yard line as the foul. But we also keep officiating until the play is over and finish the play. So, for example, if we had defensive pass interference on an incomplete pass, if I observed that action, I would throw the flag in the direction of the foul to approximately the spot without hitting players, and then once that ball hit the ground, I would signal incomplete pass to finish the play. It's important to note that every live ball foul occurs either during a loose ball play or a running play, and on the next slide we'll get into what do those things mean specifically. As I mentioned previously, there are two types of live ball plays. We'll talk first about loose ball plays. Loose ball plays encompass action during any of the following things. One is a punt, other than during post-scrimmage kick fouls. Two is a legal forward pass. Three is a backward pass. That does include the snap. Note that the snap is a backward pass, but could also include a fumble or illegal kick made by Team A behind their scrimmage line prior to a change of possession. And then additionally, a loose ball play encompasses the run or runs which precede any of the above. We'll get into some examples of this here in a minute. For running plays, just think of this very simply. If it's not a loose ball play, it's a running play. Any action which is not a loose ball play qualifies as a running play. Behind the line, we're dealing with any run which is not followed by a loose ball behind the line. So, for example, player takes a snap, runs around to the backfield and is deflagged. The snap itself is a loose ball play, but all that running around action, since he's deflagged or she is deflagged, is not is a running play. And then if we have an illegal forward pass behind the line, illegal forward passes are always categorized as fouls during running plays, so that action that preceded that would be a running play. Beyond the line, it includes any run. So anytime the ball is run beyond the line or caught beyond the line and advanced, that portion of the play is a running play. So let's try some animated examples. Here's an example of a loose ball play. The quarterback's going to take the snap, scramble around in the backfield for a little bit, and then throw a pass to a teammate who catches the ball and either falls down or is immediately deflagged at the 15-yard line. Because all of that occurred as part of a loose ball play, because remember that the forward pass that's legal is part of a loose ball play, and the runner runs which precede that are part of a loose ball play, that entire play is categorized as a loose ball play. Let's contrast that with a running play. On this particular play, the quarterback's going to take the snap, scramble around in the backfield, and then decide to just tuck it and run out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Note that the snap itself is a loose ball play, but all the action on this play after that is considered part of a running play. As was demonstrated on the previous play, it is possible that there are multiple types of plays during the same down. For example, on this play, the quarterback's going to take the snap and then complete a pass to a receiver around the B27-yard line. So all the action that precedes that catch is going to be part of a loose ball play. But once the ball is caught, we've now begun a running play. In this case, A2 runs all the way down to the B3-yard line where he or she is deflagged. In those cases, that segment of the play is going to be considered a running play. So it is possible that we could have both a loose ball play and a running play during the same down. That would be an example of a play of that nature. So I mentioned the enforcement spots a little bit earlier in the presentation, but let's talk a little bit about specifically the basic spots. The basic enforcement spot is the succeeding spot for all dead ball fouls. Remember, the succeeding spot is simply the spot where the ball would next be snapped if a foul had not occurred. We will utilize the previous spot as the basic spot for fouls that occur during a loose ball play and for fouls that are simultaneous with the snap. That means that we would use the spot of the snap as the basic enforcement spot for both of those types of fouls. Important to note that fouls that occur during a loose ball play are subject to the all but one enforcement principle, which we'll talk about here in a minute, but fouls that are simultaneous with the snap can only be enforced at the previous spot. We'll utilize the end of the run as the basic enforcement spot for fouls that occur during a running play. Again, that would be subject to the all but one principle, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then the post-scrimmage kick spot is the basic spot for fouls with post-scrimmage kick enforcement. Again, we're not going to delve deeply into PSK fouls in this presentation. Just note that that's our basic spot. And again, the PSK enforcement is subject to the all but one principle. So hopefully this diagram can help us understand the all but one principle. And the enforcement philosophy for the all but one principle is based upon the concept that all teams are entitled to the yardage they gained legally without the assistance of the foul. It's also of note that the only type of foul that would necessarily give a team extra advantage is a foul by the offensive team behind the basic spot. And I want to stress here offense versus A. Offense simply means the team in possession at the time, or the team in possession at the moment. So the offensive team could be Team B if they were to, say, intercept a pass or fumble, or Team R during a punt play. That would be the offense. So remember, A and B and K and R are unchanged during the down, but offense and defense will change based upon who's in possession of the ball. But in any case, as I mentioned previously, since we're talking about fouls that would give extra advantage, is a foul by the offense behind the basic spot. On those fouls only, we would enforce those penalties from the spot of the foul. So let's take a look here. So for example, if the foul is by the defense, whether that foul is behind the basic spot or beyond the basic spot, we will always enforce defensive fouls from the basic spot. Additionally, if we have a foul by the offense beyond the basic spot, we will enforce that penalty from the basic spot. It is only when we have an offensive foul behind the basic spot that we will enforce that penalty from the spot of the foul, because if we went to the basic spot, we would be giving the offensive team the advantage of the yardage that they gained after the foul, and that's certainly not the principle in play here. I do want to mention the 4 W's because they're important for any official that throws a flag to know. Additionally, we have to take this information to the referee when the referee makes their announcement. So the first of the 4 W's is what was the foul, specifically what was the type of foul. Is it holding? Is it flag guarding, etc.? Then we want to know who the foul was on. Was it on the offensive team? Was it on the defensive team, the kickers, the receivers, the intercepting team, the passing team? There's a lot of information that we could know. When did the foul occur? Was it a dead ball foul? Was it simultaneous with the snap? Or if it was a live ball foul, was it a loose ball play, a running play? Does it meet PSK criteria? And then finally, what is the enforcement spot? Are we going to enforce this penalty from the previous spot, the end of the run, the post-scrimmage kick spot, or are we going to enforce it from the spot of the foul because of the all but one principle? So we want to have that information in our own minds that we can then take to the referee. So I can say very simply, I've got holding against the defense during a running play, and we should enforce it from the end of the run. That will help the referee start to trigger what their announcement should sound like, and will also get the crew kicked up for penalty enforcement procedures. So now that we've talked about live ball, dead ball fouls, and the all but one principle, let's take a look at some examples of this. So on this particular play, the quarterback's going to take the snap and throw a pass to a teammate near the right sideline. During the pass, the defense commits pass interference at the 20-yard line, and in this case, the pass is incomplete. So we have to think about this. This is a live ball foul. It's subject to the all but one principle. So we go down our checks. Is this a foul by the offensive team? No. That means that we're going to enforce it from the basic spot. It's a loose ball play, which means that the basic spot is the previous spot. So we would enforce this penalty from the previous spot, from the 14, 10 yards to the 24. And assuming they only needed to gain the 20-yard line, this penalty, the yardage, would in fact result in a first down. Here's an additional play. Quarterback's going to take the snap and throw a pass to a teammate near the right sideline. Teammate catches it around the 40-yard line and is held by the defense at the B35. That player then continues all the way down to the B17-yard line. So again, we've got a foul by the defense, which means that we will always enforce defensive penalties from the basic spot. In this case, the foul occurred during the running play portion of the play, which means that the end of the run is our basic spot. So we would then enforce this penalty from the 17, and as it's a 10-yard penalty, inside the 20, we would only go half the distance to the goal, which would take us down to the 8.5-yard line and presumably make it first and goal. On this play, the quarterback's going to take the snap and run toward the left sideline. During the run, we're going to have an illegal contact foul against the offense upfield at the B22. But the quarterback will be deflagged at the B38-yard line. So let's think about this. When we go back to our principles of the all but one, we have a foul by the offense, which means it's potential to be enforced from the spot of the foul. However, this foul was committed beyond the basic spot, which on a running play is the end of the run. and it means we would enforce the penalty 10 yards from the end of the run, which in this case was the B38, which would take us back to the A32 yard line. The final example here in this segment is going to be that the quarterback's going to take the snap and throw a pass to a teammate near the right sideline. Again, the teammate's going to catch the pass near midfield. This time, that player will flag guard at the B38 and carry down to the B17 yard line where they're deflagged. This is our all but one example. We have a foul by the offense during a running play, which means that the basic enforcement spot is the end of the run. However, this foul is behind the basic spot and will require us to enforce this penalty from the spot of the foul. So we'll go from the B38 back to the A32. This is, again, the all but one principle in example. Some other basic enforcement principles include knowing what our automatic first down fouls are, and there are only two of them. If B commits either of these fouls during a down, it results in an automatic first down for A. Those two fouls are roughing the passer and a legally secured flag belt. It's important to note that an illegally secured flag belt by B is considered to be a foul at the snap. So even if we're generally not checking flag belts of players unless they score, so if B were to intercept the pass and return it for a touchdown, and we were at that point to identify we have an illegally secured flag belt, we would assume that occurred at the snap, and we would enforce it as a foul simultaneous with the snap from the previous spot, 10 yards, automatic first down. And again, an illegally secured flag belt does include automatic disqualification of the offending player. There are 5 loss of down fouls that if A were to commit them during a play would result in a loss of the down. That includes illegal forward pass, which also puts intentional grounding in that same bucket. Illegal backward pass, this is a backward pass thrown intentionally directly out of bounds to preserve time. This can really only occur in the last 2 minutes of the half. Illegally secured flag belt, again, when we check, we would consider this to be a foul at the snap and would have previous spot enforcement. And then new for this year is the COREC-specific foul for illegal male reception that carries a loss of down foul, and this penalty is always enforced at the previous spot. I hope this clears up some basic enforcement principles for you as you head into the rest of the season. Continue your great work and great luck down the road.